Mr. Gregg, Karen said, her voice dripping with condescension. The rules are the rules. We all must make sacrifices for the greater good of the community. Sacrifices? I sputtered. You want me to sacrifice my hobbies, my sanity, my right to use my own property as I see fit, all in the name of… what? Beige conformity? Karen smiled thinly. It's called maintaining property values, Mr. Gregg. Something I'm sure you, as a homeowner, can appreciate. I left that meeting defeated, frustrated, and with a growing sense of rebellion brewing in my soul. The HOA had poked the bear, and the bear was starting to get angry. Very angry. The garage was my sanctuary. Not in some man-cave beer and football way, but in a truly restorative sense. After a day of wrestling with spreadsheets and deciphering tax codes, the quiet hum of my power tools was a symphony, the scent of sawdust and motor oil, a calming aromatherapy blend. My garage was where I built, where I tinkered, where I escaped the soul-crushing monotony of being a responsible adult. So you can imagine my displeasure when the first HOA violation notice arrived, fluttering down like a toxic butterfly onto my meticulously swept driveway. Beige banality, I believe, was the official color name of my garage door, a shade chosen for its remarkable ability to inspire absolutely nothing. Apparently, it wasn't banal enough. Your garage door, the notice chirped, is in violation of Section 3, Subsection 12, Paragraph 4 of the Community Aesthetic Guidelines. Please repaint within 30 days to ensure compliance with the approved color palette. Attached was a color swatch featuring 17 shades of beige, each more indistinguishable from the next than the last. Are you kidding me? I muttered, crumpling the notice in my fist. Is this a joke? Apparently not. A week later, another notice arrived, this time targeting the visible clutter observed when my garage door was open. Visible clutter, it turned out, was HOA code for the tools I use to pursue my hobbies and maintain my property. Apparently, my meticulously organized pegboard, each tool hanging in its designated spot, was an affront to the neighborhood's sensibilities. They want me to hide my tools, I sputtered to my wife Sarah, who wisely chose to stay out of HOA-related matters. What am I supposed to do, build a secret underground workshop? Sarah, bless her heart, just smiled and patted my hand. Maybe you should just close the garage door when you're working, honey. I tried that, but the HOA, like a hydra with an inexhaustible supply of petty grievances, simply found new targets. My driveway, it seemed, was not being utilized in accordance with community standards. Apparently, parking my car on it was a grave offense, a violation of some obscure rule dictating that driveways were for aesthetic purposes only. Aesthetic purposes? I nearly choked on my morning coffee. What, am I supposed to park my car on the lawn and turn the driveway into a putting green? The final straw came in the form of a notice informing me that my garage door must remain closed at all times, except for the brief moments required to enter or exit my vehicle. Apparently, the sight of an open garage door, even with the offending clutter hidden from view, was too much for the delicate sensibilities of my HOA overlords. This is insane, I declared, throwing the notice onto the kitchen table. They're just making this stuff up as they go along. Sarah, sensing my impending meltdown, gently suggested I try reasoning with the HOA. Maybe if you talk to them, explain your situation. I did try. Oh, how I tried. I attended HOA meetings, armed with logic, reason, and a PowerPoint presentation detailing the absurdity of their demands. But the HOA board, led by the indomitable Karen, remained unmoved. Their responses were a masterclass in bureaucratic doublespeak, a symphony of community standards and aesthetic harmony that masked their insatiable thirst for control. Mr. Gregg, Karen said, her voice dripping with condescension, the rules are the rules. We all must make sacrifices for the greater good of the community. Sacrifices? I sputtered. You want me to sacrifice my hobbies, my sanity, my right to use my own property as I see fit, all in the name of… what? Beige conformity? Karen smiled thinly. It's called maintaining property values, Mr. Gregg. Something I'm sure you, as a homeowner, can appreciate. I left that meeting defeated, frustrated, and with a growing sense of rebellion brewing in my soul. The HOA had poked the bear, and the bear was starting to get angry. Very angry. If they want a show, I muttered to myself as I drove home, I'll give them a show they won't forget. The war had begun, and I, armed with a garage full of possibilities and a heart full of defiance, was ready to fight. The transformation began under the cloak of night. Armed with a toolbox, a ladder, and a heart full of rebellious intent, I embarked on my mission to turn my garage into a beacon of defiance, a middle finger to the HOA's tyranny disguised as a psychedelic art installation. First came the neon. I'd found a treasure trove of vintage neon signs at a flea market a few weeks prior. A giant hot dog, a flashing martini glass, and a particularly lurid depiction of a cowboy riding a bucking bronco. They were garish, they were excessive, and they were perfect. I wired them to the garage's electrical system, bathing the space in an eerie, otherworldly glow. The hot dog now hung proudly above the workbench. The martini glass swayed precariously from the rafters, and the cowboy, forever frozen in mid-buck, seemed to be urging me onward in my artistic rebellion. "Take that, Karen," I muttered, stepping back to admire my handiwork. "This is what you get for messing with my garage." Next came the paint. I'd never considered myself an artist, but fueled by a potent cocktail of frustration and creative freedom, I attacked the walls with a vengeance. Spray paint cans purchased in bulk from the local hardware store and discreetly expensed as home improvement supplies became my weapons of choice. Bold streaks of color, abstract shapes, and defiant slogans. HOA =sign killjoys. Beige is the enemy. My garage, my rules, covered every inch of the once drab walls. I even created a mural depicting the HOA board members as a flock of pigeons, pecking at a giant beige cube. Karen, of course, was the lead pigeon, her beak poised to strike, her beady eyes filled with a manic glint. It was a masterpiece of passive-aggressive art, and I couldn't wait to see their faces when they saw it. As I worked, I imagined the HOA's reaction. Karen's face turning purple with rage, her carefully constructed world of beige conformity shattered by my neon-drenched, graffiti-covered garage. The thought brought a smile to my face. This wasn't just about the garage anymore. It was about reclaiming my space, my freedom, my right to express myself, even if that expression involved a giant, glowing hot dog and a cowboy riding a neon bronco. By the time the first rays of dawn peeked through the garage windows, the transformation was complete. The once ordinary space had become a riot of color and light, a testament to my newfound artistic spirit and my unwavering defiance. It was a garage worthy of the name Garage of Doom, a space that would forever be a thorn in the side of the HOA and a beacon of hope for those who dared to challenge their authority. "Let the games begin," I whispered, surveying my creation with a mixture of pride and anticipation. The HOA had no idea what they were in for. They had awakened the artist within, and the artist was ready to paint the town neon. The pièce de résistance of my artistic rebellion arrived in the form of a custom-made neon sign, delivered with a wink and a nod by a grizzled old sign maker who clearly had a healthy disdain for HOAs. It read, in bold, flashing letters, "HOA Tears Fuel My Creativity." I hung it above the garage door, a beacon of defiance illuminating the neighborhood's beige monotony. Below it, I installed another sign, this one a bit more ominous. Garage of Doom. It was flanked by two salvaged neon skulls, their hollow eyes glowing with an eerie green light. The effect was both unsettling and strangely captivating, a perfect reflection of my feelings towards the HOA. But the crowning glory of my creation was the LED billboard. It was massive, stretching across the entire width of the garage door, and capable of displaying a dazzling array of colors and animations. I programmed it to showcase a rotating selection of HOA complaints, rendered in flashing pink neon. Unauthorized garden gnomes, excessive lawn ornamentation, non-compliant mailbox placement. Each complaint scrolled across the screen, a testament to the HOA's pettiness and my own unwavering defiance. To protect my masterpiece from the HOA's inevitable wrath, I took a page out of their own playbook. I registered the garage as an official art exhibit, complete with a pretentious-sounding title, Garage of Doom, a study in modern neighborhood expressionism. I even listed it on art tourism websites, describing it as a bold and provocative exploration of suburban conformity and the human spirit's yearning for self-expression. The response was immediate. Art blogs picked up the story, praising my subversive creativity and audacious challenge to the oppressive forces of suburban homogeneity. Local news outlets ran segments on the Garage of Doom, marveling at its audacity and the HOA's predictable outrage. My garage, once a symbol of the HOA's petty tyranny, had become a viral sensation, a rallying cry for those who dared to defy the beige. The first visitors arrived on a Saturday morning, a young couple with an appreciation for the offbeat and a camera full of film. "We saw your exhibit online," the woman said, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's even more amazing in person." "It's certainly something," her partner added, taking a photo of the glowing hot dog. "It's a statement," I corrected him, puffing out my chest with a newfound sense of artistic pride. "A statement against conformity, against the soul-crushing monotony of suburban existence." The couple nodded enthusiastically. "We get it," the woman said. "We live in an HOA-controlled community, too. They once gave us a violation notice for having a non-regulation welcome mat." "The struggle is real," I said, shaking my head. More visitors arrived throughout the day. Families with curious children, art students sketching furiously in their notebooks, and even a few bewildered-looking tourists who had stumbled upon the exhibit by chance. Their reactions ranged from amusement to awe to utter confusion, but one thing was clear: they were captivated. As I watched them wander through my neon-lit garage, their faces illuminated by the flashing signs and the glow of the LED billboard, I felt a surge of satisfaction. I had taken the HOA's attempts to control me and turned them into a source of creative expression, a beacon of defiance that had captured the imagination of the community. The HOA had no idea what they had unleashed. They had tried to stifle my creativity, to force me into their beige box of conformity. Instead, they had inadvertently fueled my artistic awakening, turning my garage into a monument to rebellion, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to defy the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. And as the sun set, casting long shadows across the neon-drenched walls of my garage, I knew that this was just the beginning. The Garage of Doom was here to stay, a symbol of hope for those who dared to dream of a world where garden gnomes roamed free and garage doors were open to all possibilities. The HOA's reaction was swift and predictable, a symphony of outrage orchestrated by the ever-vigilant Karen. A veritable blizzard of violation notices descended upon my mailbox, each one more absurd than the last. Unauthorized light display, excessive neon signage, public nuisance, unconventional artistic expression. The accusations flew fast and furious, each one a testament to the HOA's boundless capacity for pettiness. Karen herself arrived on my doorstep, her face a mask of fury, her voice a shrill crescendo of indignation. "Greg!" she shrieked, brandishing a stack of violation notices like a weapon. "What have you done? You've turned our peaceful neighborhood into a neon nightmare!" "Why, Karen," I replied, leaning against the doorframe with a smirk, "I thought you'd appreciate my contribution to the community's aesthetic enhancement." Karen sputtered, her eyes bulging. "Aesthetic enhancement? This is an abomination, a blight on our community, a visual assault on the senses." "Come now, Karen," I said, my voice dripping with mock concern. "Don't you appreciate the artistic merit of my work? The social commentary? The subversive critique of suburban conformity?" Karen's face contorted in a mixture of confusion and rage. Artistic merit? Subversive critique? This is just noise and flashing lights and those skulls. They're terrifying. Ah, but that's the beauty of art, Karen, I said, enjoying her frustration immensely. It's subjective. What you find terrifying, others find thought-provoking. Karen, clearly outmatched in the realm of artistic discourse, resorted to her usual tactics, threats and intimidation. "You're going to regret this, Greg," she hissed. "The HOA will not tolerate this blatant disregard for our rules." "Rules?" I chuckled. "You mean your arbitrary and ever-changing interpretations of vague and outdated covenants?" "I'm afraid I have a permit for this, Karen. An official art installation permit issued by the city. See?" I held up the document, waving it in her face. "It seems my neon nightmare is perfectly legal." Karen's eyes widened in disbelief. She snatched the permit, her eyes scanning the document with a desperate intensity. This can't be right," she stammered. "It is," I said, enjoying her frustration immensely, "and I'm afraid there's nothing you can do about it." Karen and her entourage retreated, defeated but not deterred. They continued their campaign of harassment, sending threatening letters, making anonymous phone calls, and even organizing a protest outside my house, which quickly fizzled out when the protesters discovered the free coffee and donuts I was providing. But I remained unfazed. Armed with my permit and a newfound confidence, I calmly deflected their attacks, turning their outrage into performance art. Each new violation notice was added to the LED billboard's rotation, displayed in flashing neon for all the world to see. The HOA's attempts to silence me only amplified my voice, turning their pettiness into a source of amusement for the community and a testament to my own resilience. The final blow came in the form of a particularly lengthy and convoluted complaint letter, detailing the HOA's grievances in excruciating detail. I scanned the letter, a slow smile spreading across my face. This was too good to pass up. That night, I programmed the LED billboard to display the entire letter, verbatim, in flashing pink neon. The words scrolled across the screen, a testament to the HOA's absurdity and my own unwavering defiance. It was the perfect culmination of my neon-fueled rebellion, a final, glorious middle finger to the HOA and their reign of beige terror. The next morning, I awoke to the sound of Karen's enraged screams echoing through the neighborhood. I peeked out the window to see her standing in front of my garage, her face contorted in fury, her finger pointing accusingly at the LED billboard. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I didn't need to. Her expression said it all. I smiled, took a sip of my coffee, and raised my mug in a silent toast. The HOA had met its match. The garage of doom had prevailed. The internet, in its infinite and often baffling wisdom, decided that my garage was a masterpiece. It all started with a local influencer, a bubbly young woman named Tiffany, who documented her life through a series of highly filtered Instagram stories. She stumbled upon the Garage of Doom during one of her neighborhood explorations, and her subsequent video, aptly titled "The Pettiest Art Project Ever," went viral. Suddenly, Willow Creek Estates, a neighborhood previously known only for its beige conformity and draconian HOA rules, became a hotbed of artistic pilgrimage. People flocked from all corners of the city, and even beyond, to witness the spectacle of my neon-lit, graffiti-covered garage. They posed for selfies in front of the flashing signs, debated the meaning of the abstract murals, and marveled at the sheer audacity of it all. "This is amazing!" a teenage girl exclaimed, snapping a photo of the HOA Tears Fuel My Creativity sign. "I'm totally posting this on TikTok." "It's like a middle finger to the whole system," a young man with a nose ring and a beanie declared, nodding approvingly. "I don't get it," a bewildered older woman muttered to her companion. "Why would anyone do this to their garage?" "It's art, Ethel," her companion replied patiently. "It's supposed to make you think." Ethel squinted at the LED billboard, where a particularly scathing HOA complaint about unauthorized lawn flamingo attire was scrolling across the screen. "Well, it certainly makes me think this young man needs a hobby," she declared. Emboldened by the public's response and the HOA's impotent rage, I decided to take things a step further. I announced the first Garage Art Night, an evening of music, performance art, and general revelry, all set against the backdrop of my neon-drenched garage. The community, once stifled by the HOA's suffocating rules, embraced the event with open arms. Local musicians volunteered to play, neighbors brought snacks and drinks to share, and someone even set up a makeshift dance floor in the driveway. The Garage of Doom, once a symbol of my personal rebellion, became a celebration of our collective freedom. "This is incredible, Greg!" Mr. Henderson exclaimed, his face flushed with excitement. "I haven't had this much fun since before the HOA banned neighborhood potlucks." "It's like the whole neighborhood has come alive," Mrs. Peterson added, her pink flamingo earrings swaying to the beat of the music. "I haven't seen this many smiles in years." Even some of the HOA board members, their resolve weakened by the infectious energy and the promise of free refreshments, were spotted lurking on the periphery of the festivities. I caught a glimpse of Mr. Johnson, the HOA treasurer, tapping his foot to the music, a hesitant smile playing on his lips. I raised my glass in a silent toast. The revolution had begun, and it was soundtracked by a local indie band and fueled by Mrs. Peterson's surprisingly potent punch. The Garage Art Nights became a regular occurrence, each one more vibrant and well-attended than the last. The garage transformed into a community hub, a place where people could gather, connect, and express themselves without fear of judgment or violation notices. The HOA's attempts to control us had backfired spectacularly, igniting a spark of creativity and community spirit that spread like wildfire through the once sterile streets of Willow Creek Estates. As I watched the crowd dancing, laughing, and celebrating under the glow of the neon lights, I knew that I had created something truly special. The Garage of Doom, born from defiance, had become a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of art to bring people together and the enduring human spirit that refuses to be confined by rules, regulations, or beige paint. The HOA, backed into a corner and facing a full-scale neighborhood revolt, made a last desperate stand. Karen, her eyes burning with a fiery blend of fury and fear, called an emergency meeting, the agenda clear: regain control, crush the rebellion, and extinguish the neon glow that dared to challenge their beige hegemony. "We must act now," she declared, her voice echoing through the community center's sterile meeting room. This Garage of Doom is a menace to our community. It's attracting undesirables. It's disrupting the peace. It's an affront to all that is decent and beige. The proposed solution? A series of new rules, carefully crafted to target the Garage of Doom and its associated activities. Neon structures were to be banned outright. Unauthorized public gatherings would be met with hefty fines, and any form of artistic expression that deviated from the HOA's strictly defined aesthetic guidelines would be swiftly and ruthlessly suppressed. But the community, emboldened by the Garage of Doom's defiant spirit, was no longer willing to cower under the HOA's tyranny. At the meeting, a chorus of voices rose in opposition, denouncing the proposed rules as absurd, restrictive, and a blatant attempt to stifle creativity and community spirit. "You can't ban neon," a teenager with purple hair and a Garage of Doom t-shirt protested. "It's like a form of self-expression." "And what's wrong with public gatherings?" Mrs. Peterson chimed in, her pink flamingo earrings flashing defiantly. "We haven't had a decent neighborhood party since you banned potlucks." Even Mr. Johnson, the timid HOA treasurer, surprised everyone by speaking up. I actually quite enjoy the Garage Art Nights," he stammered, his cheeks flushing. "The music is quite good, and the atmosphere is quite lively." Karen stared at him in disbelief. "Mr. Johnson, are you defending this monstrosity? Mr. Johnson, emboldened by his newfound courage and perhaps a few glasses of Mrs. Peterson's punch at the last garage art night, stood his ground. I simply believe that perhaps we've been a bit too restrictive in the past. Perhaps a little bit of artistic expression wouldn't be such a bad thing. It turned out Mr. Johnson wasn't just a secret admirer of the garage art nights. He was a closet neon artist himself. He shyly revealed a sculpture he'd been working on, a whimsical creation of a glowing cat chasing a laser pointer. The community, charmed by his unexpected artistic talent, erupted in applause. The HOA's attempt to ban neon and public gatherings failed spectacularly. The proposed rules were voted down, and Karen, her authority crumbling around her, was left sputtering in defeat. I, ever the showman, decided to celebrate our victory with a new addition to the Garage of Doom, a laser show. But this wasn't just any laser show. This one projected the HOA's complaint letters, in real time, onto the garage door, the words dancing and swirling in a mesmerizing display of light and color. It was a stroke of genius, turning their attempts at censorship into performance art, their outrage into entertainment. The HOA, faced with the community's unwavering support for the Garage of Doom and the undeniable coolness of the laser show, finally waved the white flag. They retreated, defeated and demoralized, leaving the neighborhood to bask in the glow of our collective artistic rebellion. The Garage of Doom had prevailed, a shining testament to the power of art, community, and a healthy dose of defiance.